In the meantime, let's cross now to my colleague Abra. Abra, what are you seeing in terms of MPs coming through? I'm sure traffic is building up ahead of the budget speech.
No, I have more MPs lined up. As we promised, we will be speaking to as wide a spectrum of MPs and political parties as possible in the run-up to the speech, which is happening in just little under an hour. But let me go straight into it because it's cooking out here. Makashule Ghana of the Rise Mzansi. As I said it's cooking out here, but I also hear that something is cooking behind the scenes. Apparently parties are not happy with what they are hearing about tax hikes. Do you know anything about this?
So we don't know anything. I was not part of the lock-up session, but we do have our expectations as Rise Mzansi. One of the important one is that the pronouncements that the president made during the State of the Nation address needs to find expression in the budget, because it's of no use to make a pronouncement as a president, but then the budget does not speak to the priorities. But understanding that this is the first budget of the 7th administration, it will also tell us what are the priorities of the 7th administration, which are the things that will be funded. But what South Africans want to see, what South Africans want to hear, is whether from the 1st of March they are going to pay more for bread, they are going to pay more for transport, they are going to pay more for general household goods. So people want to hear from the minister that then the choices that the minister and Treasury has made insofar as kickstarting the economy, how the 940 billion that was announced by the president is going to be allocated, which project, which infrastructure that 940 billion will go to. But also, we want to see this budget speaking about how to keep South Africans safe. We would like to see an additional allocation to the South African National Defence Force so that we capacitate them to be able to defend the borders of this country, but also when embarking on missions to safeguard the interest of the continent, that they are properly equipped. But most importantly, this budget must speak to the realities of the South Africa that exists now, and not the South Africa that we wish existed.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Ghana. I will speak to you after the speech. Who do I have next? I am Ms. Jasmine Peterson of the Patriotic Alliance. Thank you for your time. Thank you for waiting for us. What is your party hoping to hear come out of the speech this afternoon?
Thank you so much. I think every year we listen to the budget speech and we hope for change. We hope for change. We hear allocations being made to schools, hospitals, but in reality, the unemployment rate still rises. Poverty deepens and young graduates still struggle to find jobs, right? So I think my expectations would be, or our expectations would be, that young people be prioritized in this budget. That young people be prioritized so much so that a budget is given where opportunities are made available to young people that is not short-term, but long-term. It's not temporary. In conclusion, I think we have seen way too many dreams die prematurely. We have witnessed great ideas thought of that never manifested, and we have seen how tables can be turned when all we needed as young people in this country is a chance. So my expectations is very clear this year, is that young people be prioritized. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's an interesting one from the PA. They've seen dreams die prematurely, and they're obviously hoping that this budget will focus on the young people of the country. Mr. Fadil Adams of the NCC, thank you for your patience, sir. You are not part of the GNU, and I've been told that this is an extremely important budget because it's the first budget of the GNU. What is your take on that, sir?
Yeah, we refuse to be part of the circus. We are here with an expectation and with hope. But budget speeches mean absolutely nothing if it's not translated into tangible difference, tangible change on the ground. And that is what we're hoping for. We're hoping that the minister comes with something that makes a difference. We're hoping that he prioritizes the poor and the youth. We're hoping, but this won't happen, that they incentivize honesty in the civil service, because criminality is very profitable if you're a civil servant. But these people don't think out the box. we'll see what happens. At this point, we'd advise the minister to cut spending on defense, spend more on education, because South Africa has no real enemies, and at this moment South Africa has no real borders. So if he's not going to pay to strengthen the borders, then cut the spending on the army, because those people are sitting around playing dominoes, and our youth are not getting into schools.
Thank you for your time. I'll catch up with you after the speech. UDM, Mr. Ngabayomzi Kwankwa.
Yes, Abra.
How are you, sir?
Very well, and you?
I can't complain. I can complain, but I won't.
Yeah, you won't.
Okay, fine. What are your expectations? I'm hearing that parties who are privy to what is in the speech are not happy because there's a big emphasis on tax, and all your colleagues across parties this morning have been talking about their fear of the normal man on the street being hit with more taxes.
Well, we said we know that the country is experiencing financial challenges. We said a long time ago that, remember, corporate income tax rate was reduced in the past in order to try and stimulate the private sector to invest in the economy. They have not responded positively to that. That means that at some point when we require resources, we should increase corporate income tax rate. We should be strict on tax avoidance, not tax evasion measures. Because remember, on the book, it might show that they are paying this amount of tax, but because of many tax avoidance schemes which are considered to be legal, their tax liability ends up reducing. Two, the high income earners, in times when the economy is struggling, the country is struggling, the high income earners have to carry the tax burden so that we are able to provide for the poor. Society works like that. We should be considering measures that are going to take money from the poor in order to address the budgetary constraints that we face as a country. We are also expecting the minister, in our view, to actually outline a plan of action for the program of action which President Ramaphosa outlined during his SONA, because this is the numberizing aspect of the plan, where he provides financial details about how that's going to be funded. Our interest as a party would be to look at the 900 billion rands, where it's going to come from, how it's going to be managed, which institutions are going to be critical in trying to manage that infrastructure-led growth, because without that detail, then the 3% we was talking about here becomes a pipe dream.
Okay, so you want to hear more on the program of action, and I think that is something that all parties have. Basically, they all share that view, that they want to hear more about the statement of intent that was signed between the various GNU parties, and they also want to hear more in terms of spending on the youth and on health and on education. Mr. Kwankwa, I'll catch up with you after the speech. Thank you very much. Well, there you go. Back to the studio. We will see you after the speech.
Thanks very much, my colleague there, Abra Barbier.